In this video, I'm going to be showing you some products from the PK component series. PK components are essentially new operating modes for the Korg pad control. Each component offers different functionality, such as a general purpose control surface for live or a dedicated controller for live's drum rack. Presets are a combination of 1 to 4 components that are all accessible at the same time. Now the presets run an empty player. That's a Bohmy's MIDI translator powered runtime. It's very reliable and it just sits in the background between the pad control and your DAW software of choice, handling all the logic. All the components for live use the same transport controls. You have play, stop, and record, rewind and fast forward, and then loop on and off. And these also have shifted functions. I'll show you the top in just a second, but on the bottom you have jump to previous and next marker, and then switch between clip and track view. Now the top does undo, redo, and clip record. And to show you how clip record works, first let me show you how recording clips normally works. You launch a clip, and then after a certain amount of time you launch it again to tell live to stop recording and to start playing back. But it's kind of hard to do that second launch while you're recording, so that's what the clip record does. It does the second launch for you. They also share the same encoder functions. You have scene up and down, tempo in 1 BPM increments, and then QWERTY functions, up, down, left, right, and plus and minus. The knobs also function the same in all the components. They're used for instant mapping. Now normally that's done with 8 knobs. In this case we only have 2 knobs, so they're reassignable. Right now they're set up as instant map knobs 1 and 2, so they'll control the first 2 parameters on the selected device. If I want to control other parameters, I can, like 3 and 4, I'll just reassign the knobs here, and now I can control the 3rd and 4th macros. This is the main control surface component for live. It's set up to control 8 tracks at a time, and you can move between banks of 8 tracks with the navigation section here. The set that I have up has 23 tracks in it. Right now I'm controlling tracks 1 through 8. I can move to 9 through 16 or 17 through 23. Alright, notice as I'm moving between banks, the first track in the bank is selected so that I get oriented with where I am in the set. Alright, also if you have a big set, you can use the shift plus bank up and down to go to the first bank or last bank in your set. And then finally this button here will select the return bank so that you can control up to 8 returns. The upper pads select tracks, and the lower pads can do different things depending on the pad parameter switches. Right now they're in mute mode, so they'll mute tracks. Alright, and these will toggle if you press them quick. If you hold them down, they turn into momentary switches. The next mode is solo, and again, if you press them quick, they'll toggle. If you hold them down, they turn into momentary switches. Alright, and lastly you have arm. Alright, the encoder can also do some additional things in this mode. It can do all the global functions, but it also has some per track functions. So you select a track with the track select pads here, and then you can adjust the volume, pan, or one of the 8 sends on the track. Alright, so just to show you how that works, here's volume. And the encoder has acceleration built in, so if you turn it fast, you can coarse adjust. If you turn it slow, you can fine adjust. Alright, you just select the track you want to control here. By default, the XY pad will navigate if you're in session view, and it scrolls if you hold it down. Alright, with the buttons to the side here, this one will launch the selected scene, or stop all clips. This one will launch the selected clip, or stop it. If you're in arranged view, this will also navigate, but if you use the clip launch switch, turn that on, you can use this for zooming in and out. By default, the XY pad can only navigate around in the main focus. It won't work in the detail focus or in the browser. So there's an additional XY mode that sets it up to work just like the arrow keys on your keyboard. So now you can navigate around in the main focus, or you can cycle to the device focus and move between devices, or you can cycle to the browser and move around in there. This component can be used in a few different ways. By default, it's set up to control a 12 by 12 clip grid. It could also be used for MIDI mapping, or for a combination of both clip grid and MIDI mapping. In this video though, I'm just going to be showing you the clip grid. Alright, so like I said, it gives you a 12 by 12 clip grid to work with. The pads can control 4 tracks by 4 scenes at a time, and that grouping is called a quadrant. You have 9 of those to work with, and you have a variety of ways of navigating between them. First of all, a quadrant is identified by a column and a row number. A column is equal to 4 tracks, a row is equal to 4 scenes. Alright, with the navigation controls here, you can navigate between your columns. So right now we're in column 1, which is tracks 1 through 4, 5 through 8, 9 through 12. And notice that when I'm moving between the columns, that the first track in the column is getting selected so that I get an indication of where I am in the set. These buttons down here can navigate your rows, And again, the first scene in the row gets selected when you're navigating so that you can get an indication of where you are. The pads will launch the clips in the selected quadrant. I'm just going to go through here and launch some clips real quick. All right, and they can also do some other things as well. If you press down Shift, they'll give you an overview of what's going on in your 9 quadrants. So solid indicates that that's the quadrant you're currently in, and flashing indicates that there's clips playing in those quadrants. You can also use this to navigate around in the quadrants. With the pad parameter buttons, you can launch scenes with this button. These 4 pads are set up to launch the 4 scenes in the selected quadrant. With this button, you could launch tracks, the 4 tracks in the selected quadrant, and then with this button, you could stop the tracks in the selected quadrant. And lastly, the XY pad is set up as a crossfader. So with the bottom, you could smoothly crossfade from left to right. You can also, by moving diagonally, you could smoothly crossfade from left to center or from right to center. Alright, so anywhere above like 2/3 up will snap back to center. So you can actually just tap, left to right or center. This component is set up to control Live's drum rack. The bottom 12 pads control the visible pads in the drum rack. And the top pads do a couple different things. These 2 pads over here are last pads, and the way those work is whichever pad you hit last gets assigned to them. Just makes playing fast passages and like fills and stuff like that easier. These 2 pads here are cycle sequencers, and those can record and play back sequences of up to 8 notes. So the way that works is you press Shift plus one of them to get into recording mode, and now you can record some steps. And as you're recording, the display will show you how many steps you've recorded. To end recording, just press the pad again, and you'll start playing back. Now this will record the notes you play and the velocity you play them at. So to give you an example of that, I'll just record a quick crescendo real quick. With the pad parameters, you have 2 16 levels modes, and the way those work is whichever pad you hit last gets assigned to 16 levels. So I'll hit this snare, and then I'll hit this top button here, and now I'll have 16 levels of velocity control over that snare. If I want to control a different drum like the hi-hat, just get out of 16 levels mode, hit the hi-hat, and then get back in. The other 16 levels mode by default controls pitch. So, and you can have both of those on at the same time. The other pad parameter is, right now I have real velocity, hit this switch and you have fixed velocity. The XY pad is set up to do instant mapping, so it works similar to the way the knobs do, and by default it's set up like an XY pad, so it controls one parameter on the x-axis and another on the y-axis. And right now, as you can see, it releases the parameters to their default state when you release. You can also turn the hold switch on so that they stay. This also has an additional mode. You can switch to a different XY layout where you have 2 Y controllers next to each other. So you control one parameter over here and the other one over here.